I want to start off by saying thanks to Bandai Namco for sending us a review copy. Based on the popular manga and anime My Hero Academia, is sJustice a game for one or a game for all? Let's find out. In this world, nearly everyone has superpowers known as quirks. When our hero Izuku heads to Hosu City for further training, he finds his classmate Ida taking on the dreaded hero killer, Stain. Stain is part of a larger group of villains headed by All For One, who plans on taking over Hosu City. For fans, the story mode covers the second season of the anime. For people new to the series like myself, there's not enough time to get to know all of these characters. The story isn't anything special, but it's serviceable and gives you an idea of who some of these characters are. sJustice is a 3D arena fighting game similar to other anime-based fighting games, although it has fewer combos than a Naruto or Dragon Ball game to make it more simple. You have your standard attack, quirk attacks, block, dash, 2 support character attacks, plus extras, super moves, grabs, counter attacks, and unstoppable attacks, which are sometimes grabs. Despite the name, the unstoppable attacks could be stopped, and I didn't find it useful in most cases. Blocking can only be done on the ground, and a lot of the time I was in the air, so that wasn't great either. However, counterattacks I think are cool and very useful. To perform it, press the standard attack in a direction. The move has super armor, meaning you will still take damage, but be able to finish your attack. But there is a catch. It takes a few seconds for the attack to land, which allows your opponent to use theirs and counter your counterattack. It gives the player being pummeled a chance to retaliate, but it's also not an attack you can't escape from. Fighting in the air is quite common, and while things can get hectic, I never felt like I lost sight of my opponent. The camera is always locked onto them, and dashing in the air will send you directly towards them. One of the big draws to My Hero Academia is that everybody has a unique quirk. In this game, quirks act as 2 separate special attacks. Most of the time there's a secondary version of these attacks if you combine it with a direction at the same time. There are also certain conditions which you can and can't use them in, listed in your moves list. Overall, the characters are great, and each one has a distinct trait to separate them from the rest. For example, Keanu Reeves can pull you in from a distance quickly to set up a combo, Bloodlust can transform into the opponent for a limited time, Power Girl can change her weapon, Sasuke can freeze opponents with an ice attack, and Deku Scrub has close and long range attacks that can be charged. I'm sorry, I can't remember these names, you're gonna have to settle for my nicknames. The game has 2 different types of control configurations. Normal mode, which is the default, or manual. Normal allows you to perform combos with quirks by only using the standard button attack. The game isn't that difficult, so I didn't bother using it, but it's there if you want it. Aside from online and offline multiplayer, sJustice has a lot to offer in terms of modes and content. There are 3 single-player modes: Story, Arcade, and Missions. Story is the main mode that gets you familiar with the heroes and villains' movesets. They consist of 1-round fights, sometimes with support characters, through an overarching narrative, and it lasts about 7 hours. Arcade mode lets you choose 1 character and 2 supports in a series of 6 matches. The person who wins the best 2 out of 3 rounds wins that match. In between matches, characters exchange dialogue, some of which is tailored to the specific matchup. Lastly, Mission mode is another series of 1-round fights, but matches come with varying conditions and your health will be carried over to each battle. Even if you're playing by yourself, there's plenty to do and they all have their purpose. Story mode lets you try all the characters in a safe environment, Arcade gives you room to grow with the characters you like playing, and Mission mode puts a twist on normal fights. Through these various modes you can unlock or buy a lot of content such as costumes, art for your online profile, poses, voice clips, accessories, and more. Accessories can mostly be exchanged between characters to create whatever weird hodgepodge fanfiction character you want. Go nuts! Each character has both their hero costume and school uniform in various colors to collect. The animated manga panels in the story mode liven up what could have just been basic support conversations. The overall aesthetic of the menus and characters are rich with color and look great. Little touches like characters covering their ears when Jiro blasts a sound wave are nice too. Fighting on walls and destructible environments make the stages more interesting as well, even if destruction is only a visual effect and not a gameplay mechanic. My Hero Academia sJustice is a solid fighting game. While it's not as deep as the others, it doesn't need to be. Each character has a distinct trait that changes their playstyle and makes them interesting. There's a good amount of single-player content to play and tons of collectibles for those who like customization. I'm giving My Hero Academia 1's Justice 3.5 stars out of 5. Shout out to our patrons for supporting us, especially our super patron, the Duke of Dorks. You can find his channel in the description. Subscribe if you want to see more, and remember to return to the source.